I am joining the forces soon, and something I have noticed is everyone who is in or has been in has awesome stories. They can be funny, badass, or just plain weird, but let's hear them. Once upon a time, a dude I know was looking at a pipe because he heard a noise coming from it. Then 2-year-old liquid shit shot out of the pipe into his face with the force of a fire hose. This is what happens when you are on a submarine. Poo shoots out and hits you. Be me, 19-year-old Swiss guy. Mandatory military service started 5 weeks ago. I'm incorporated as a rifleman. It's time to choose our specialty. Everyone gets one. We have 4 options: LMG, Panzerfaust 3, Commando, basically forward observer, and explosives. Basically do nothing all day and have fun with high explosives. I choose LMG because my Bert. Zug, platoon, LMG has a pretty harsh LT. First morning, the platoon meets its NCOs and one new guy who just arrived. The new guy is Private Wilson. It's a white cardboard silhouette target mounted on a stick, with an angry skeleton drawn on it. Recruits, this is Private Wilson. He will be with you at all times, and he will be present at each morning call. And so it was. Be a week later, we got some issues with the commandos. Insults, places in line for chow stolen, no biggie, until they struck our honor as a platoon. One day we come back to the training ground after chow. Wilson wasn't there. Turns out the commandos hired the Panzerfaust platoon to steal it from our material guards. The day after, everyone receives a video of Private Wilson. He is laid against a tree trunk and executed by a whole commando platoon. It's on.exe. LT declares a week of mourning, and he wants revenge. The plan is simple. Steal the trunk. The commandos had been hauling this long-ass tree every day for the past week as a mascot, and it apparently helped with executing Private Wilson. 2 comrades of mine sneak under the commando's nose and steal it. We hide it and wait for the time to eat. To get food, we have to walk along a river, the commandos on the left side and us on the right side. As we see them approaching, we yell insults and such pleasantries. They turn, just in time to see us throw the trunk into the river. All-out war almost breaks out. Peace is found just in time, thanks to the captain who intercedes. B boot camp, mopping floor with squad. Someone pisses in the bucket and we mop floor with piss. The next 48 hours is just a blur of push-ups, running, vomit, and tears. Be deployed to Kandahar Airfield. Be 4th of July, possibly. I don't remember what holiday it actually was. Giant ass cake and defect. Looks good.jpg. Cake actually dry ass cornbread with frosting. My face win. In latrine, push up ceiling tile. A vibrator falls from ceiling. This has been a men's barrack for 20 years. Drill instructor tells us never to speak of it. Other story from the Swiss Army. Still basic. We are little shits because 4th week or so of basic training in a conscription army. Instructor, let's call him G, is yelling and PTing the shit out of us for being little shits. This goes on for quite a while. Next day, Instructor G is absent from the field. Weird. He's usually always there to yell at us. As we get back to the barracks at around 1800, we see him in the PD stand, the place where we clean up our gear every evening. As usual, he's super imposing. He's a big guy with a mean-ass look to him. When he tries to yell at us to get our gear out for cleaning, we understand. He fucked his voice so bad yesterday that he's practically whistling. The first who laughs gets the whole platoon to PT. Everybody stifling laughter within 1 minute. Run, push-ups, plank, all night. Be stationed out of CAF. Be flying 14-hour QRF shift on Thanksgiving. Dinner consists of brown bag with tuna sandwich. Fly all night. Land and debrief and find out the tow croaches ate all of the fucking turkey. During our rucks between the barracks and our training grounds, we sing. We are ordered to write a platoon song with all the patriotic goodies. Some guy who attempted to enter SF but didn't make the cut is the author of the best one. And so we sing it. Every day, twice a day, alternating from grunts and screams to ol' Instructor G. One day, we cross some Swiss Germans coming from a nearby training facility. They are singing too. They are singing loud. Instructor G and his clique don't like the fact that we're not as loud. We can't hear you, in a perfect SpongeBob intro style. We get louder. They take the challenge, and so on and so forth. Once we get to the barracks, we get the first floor of cleaning racks. They get the one above us. This is closed to the outside world and open towards an inner courtyard which we can see every room in the building. Songs get louder and louder. I could swear I felt the glass panes shaking. We get to the climax of the song when we hear the loudest voice of them all. God fucking damn it, shut up you animals, we're getting complaints from all over town. Fucking Feldweibel spoiling our fun. Be part of a reserve unit. Have our annual training. Be out in the fucking desert at a range. End up pulling radio shift for 0300 to 0600. Shift consists of sitting in a Humvee and listening to the radio. Responding to radio checks by range control. This was important because there had been range fires, tracer rounds, so they would tell us if we needed to move, etc. End up dozing off. Have vivid dreams of the entire range of fire and my entire company running around burning alive. Tents are on fire and collapsing. Ashen pieces of charred flesh slowly drifting out of the air. Screaming everywhere. Wake up and chuckle. Broke my foot in BCT. Went to shitty rehab unit. Drill sergeants always angry cause they can't PT us. Make us clean constantly. There's a cleaning roster that rotates every week with our names on it. Some guy has the bathrooms. It's important to note the stuff got cleaned first thing in the morning and then the evening. For the entire week this guy had the bathroom. Someone would jizz on the stall doors, like consistently every night, before the morning when people would wake up, sometimes on multiple doors. I wouldn't even have to see it. The guy with the duty would walk in and just start screaming, and I'd know what happened. Whoever did it never got caught. He was the Jizz Bandit. Training exercise towards the end of our basic training. Moving fire, basically covering the advance of a friendly team while IFVs fire above our heads to cover us. We're getting there. Halfway through the course. Friendly stop firing. We have to get down and cover them. Take cover in some craters/foxholes. NCO, let's call him Sergeant D, is yelling at me like somebody stuck a hot LMG barrel up his ass. Over there, you mongrel! Further to the right! I yell, understood, right, and move to a foxhole about 5 meters from mine. Other screams reach me. No, to my right! The other way! At this point, I have to cross some 30 meters of ground to get where he wants me to go, all while staying as low as I can, all while the IFVs are acquiring their targets. Get about 10 meters from my destination as I hear M2HBs firing little over a foot above my head. Stay low as fuck and get to my foxhole while yelling stuff along the line of, who gave a sergeant rank to a fucking idiot who can't even tell left and right apart? Sergeant D finally shuts up. Didn't even get reprimanded. The rest of the team agreed with me, and even my LT told me I was in the right. Recent one. Be in a reserve exercise. We are simulating repelling an air assault by unnamed hostile country. My squad keeps running around from one task to another for the whole exercise, doing patrols, guarding the base, dealing with a group of mud slimes that have been attacked by neo-Nazis, followed by doing crowd control when said neo-Nazis show up, etc. It's the last evening. We are told to sleep well. Knowing the guy's sense of humor, this means there's going to be an attack during the night. Squad leader gives the order to maintain 2-minute readiness, as in ready to fight our way to hell and back within 2 minutes from the alarm. Everyone goes to bed in full gear. After an hour or two, we are told that if there had been plans for an attack during the night, they were now scrapped. Everyone takes off the gear and goes to sleep. Snow wealth. Conscription. Halfway through 2-week final exercise. Counting traffic until we get a mission to relocate and recon a certain area for enemy bases. At this point, tired as fuck, getting sick of this shitty old field rations while the enemy is eating the new ones, which taste good even if you throw up, and running out of smokes and sweets. Hide our gear and split up into pairs. Agree to steal whatever you can find. How about that? We find support elements, comms, and artillery pieces. Fuckers didn't even set up proper guards. All pairs go through the crates, cars, and unattended tents. The drivers, 90% of them are fat fucks, left cigarettes, sweets, and pastries into their trucks. Niggers didn't even lock their doors. One pair found a couple of crates of fruit, but decided to take only one. Best part? The officers who are part of the war game had left their cars unlocked. It was a treasure trove of information. Go get your rucksacks, put up the tent, and go to sleep while the signalist sends information about what we had found. Don't mention the stolen goods. Next morning, LT comes and picks up our sketches of the enemy camps. Doesn't comment on the crate of apples in our camp, but I could swear he almost smiled. Kind of a related story. B in a army, 12B. Guy in my platoon marries a Mexican. 8 out of 10. Ass, 11 out of 10. Cooks us fucking lunch during work days. One problem. Buddy is good old boy from West Virginia. Wife's food too spicy. Says she even makes mashed potatoes spicy somehow. Getting in class one day after lunch. Hear an ungodly noise. Look at Buddy. Sweat pouring off bald head. Eyes wide, staring at the ground intensely. Make eye contact. Give him a thumbs up in question. He shakes his head, throwing sweat droplets around. Alright, take a 10-minute smoke break, everybody. Buddy bolts to door, knocking people out of the way, sprints down hallway. Follow him out of curiosity. Open latrine door. Awful smell. Somewhere between Satan's asshole and a Mexican restaurant dumpster smacks me in the face. See Buddy sprawled out under stall. Bro, you alright? Open door. My face squint. He stares up at me, pants around his knees, shit covering the floor and pulling out slowly like a gunshot wound victim. Pure look of shock and horror. Slowly close stall door and leave latrine to recuperate and collect my thoughts. I ended up having to get another guy to guard the door, and I went to get clothes from his wife. It was literally the most awkward conversation I've had with a hot chick, and that's saying a lot. Be me in 1969 in a Central Highlands on a fire base. Company has a pet monkey that looks like it was crossed with Badger. They flew in a pallet of beer and everyone off duty got drunk, including me. We had a prefab steel watchtower to which we tethered the monkey. Well, they got the monkey drunk and he climbed about 20 feet up the guard tower, bracing, and he fell and was hanging. Sounded like he was getting eaten alive. I climbed up the ladder and inched over the beam where the nylon leash strap was looped. I cut it with my trusty shark tooth Randall, which I still have, by the way. Monkey fell headfirst into the concrete footing of one of the upright beams. Dead monkey. I get called on the carpet by the old man who proceeded to give me a ration and threat of Article 15. I bought another to replace it and he got thrown out of a C-130. But that's another story. Be me, 17 years old in AIT. Company commander likes to talk to his troops when he was out and about. Be me in a mess hall dumping my tray on the way back to the barracks. I see the CO getting ready to enter the mess hall through the enlisted entrance. So I exit through the officer's entrance. Boom. Who is nearby? The first sergeant. Hell breaks loose on my carcass and I get smoked. An hour later, I have a shirt pocket full of straws from a broom, and I am poking the fly shit out of the mess hall window screens with said straw. In garrison, company released for day. Go to PX to buy beer for evening. Smoke a cigarette out front first. Put cigarette out and throw it in the trash. Walk into PX and go to beer coolers. Battalion Sergeant Major is right there. He looks at me. Hoorah, Sergeant Major. Hoorah, Lance Corporal. Getting some beer, huh? A few, Sergeant Major. Grab 12-pack. Tell him it's for both roommate and I. 6 beer per Marine barracks rule. Just be safe. Go to getting checkout line. 2 lines open. I go to different line than him. Next thing Sergeant Major yells, "Oh shit, the trash can's on fire." He and PX girl run outside to put it out. My girl checks me out. I walk past both them with 12-pack to go drink as my BN Sergeant Major puts out my trash can fire. The dude was a dick anyways. My face went. Another story. Have last fire watch of the night. Fuck, you're already dressed when everyone wakes up. Wake up, routine goes normally. Get IT'd because they don't want me just standing around. All of a sudden, hear SDI yell, "What the fuck is that?" Kill Hat tells me to get on the line. SDI brings recruit Weston to the center of the squad bay. Eyeballs. Weston has morning wood like mad. SDI, Kill Hat, and Drill Hat all get down on its level. All three of them proceed to scream at the offending wood until it goes down. Boot camp equals funny shit you're not allowed to laugh at. Basic, 1988. Drill Sergeant receives a Red Cross message. Called to toe the line. Drill Sergeant gives us the order. Everyone whose mother is still alive, take one step forward. We follow the order. Drill Sergeant, not you, Private Stone. Take a step back. Private Stone's face went. That was fucked up, Drill. Fucked up. Another related story. In a field. Get to do PX run. Whole platoon goes in for Subway and Lickies and Chewies. Slip my buddy a few 20s for cigarettes and dip and Monster. Sit outside on truck hood, smoking and guarding truck since weapons still mounted. Enjoying being alone for 5 minutes. Wild officers appear. 2 majors and a full bird. 1 major and colonel are female. Jump up as they march straight for me. Ma'am, cue lazy salute as I prepare for my ass chewing over some insignificant thing because lol officers. Specialist, smart salute. She's kind of a cougar. The major here says that's an M60. She points at the 240. Look at the guy. Old as fuck. Obviously prior service type. Try to help him save some face. Been a while since you've been on the line, huh, Major? This is a 240B. It was fielded as a replacement for the M60. Son, I humped that thing when I was a private in Desert Storm. I know what an M60 looks like. Jump up there and I'll show you. What are you doing, .jpg? He jumps up on the turret. We get really close to the gun. Oh, that's not a M60, he mumbles. My face went. Loudly say, no sir, but I understand the confusion. It's the same basic frame and fires the same round. They just made it a bit lighter and cut all the unnecessary bits out. Colonel nods approvingly. Major Oldfart looks at me humble and appreciative. Yeah, I guess my old eyes ain't as good as they used to be. Carry on, Specialist. I was so fucking mad, but still didn't throw his dumb ass under the bus like I should have. The real question is, why didn't a full bird know immediately that the Army doesn't field M60s in 2011? 8 out of 10 though. Would have taken a UCMJ to eat that fat ass of hers. My guess? She did, and that's exactly why she decided to embarrass him. Army fag. Stolen altered rifles from a rival company. Shit myself in the field. Responded to an emergency in nothing but PT shorts and battle rattle. Captured a ranger on a FTX. Pissed in a sink, pissed while in the prone. Dove on a snake. Got smoked for farting on a drill sergeant. Filled condoms with soap and water and lotion and ambushed people with them. In Iraq somewhere by Sinjar. Eating MRE, chilling. Platoon fuck up in turret of 7-ton supply truck. Somehow manages to pop smoke by rubbing against turret the wrong way and snagging the pin. 2 things made this funny. Him smoking himself out, and luck would have it, choppers were flying by and got confused. Here, oh fuck, he's in turret getting smoked out and burned a little. Jumps like 10 feet out of the turret, landing all decked up in the sand. We run over to help. Helos are on the comm asking if we need LZ extract because 1C smoke. Tell them it's a mistake, patch up platoon fuck up, everyone loses. POG, non-deployable unit. Company comprised of admin Marines has 45 major alcohol-related incidents in 30 days. Namely, 1 guy drinks himself into a coma. Nothing exciting, but I've heard rumors alcohol might be banned in the bricks. D driving Humvee in a convoy. Just field exercise in old unarmored POS. I tell the guys in the back to sleep while they can. Nothing eventful will happen. Corporal Numbnuts behind me dozes off. Still with rifle in his hand, pointing up like a good grunt. Sergeant Decent Human Being informs me that I am about to be Exhibit A in an upcoming trial. Numbnuts had dropped his hand with the thumb resting not only in the trigger guard, but with it on the trigger. Holy fucking hell, no dipshit.gif. Scream out, Sergeant, take the wheel! Like he had wanted to do and practiced to do this for his entire life. He straddles the central platform and takes over like nothing. I turn around and start using some excessive force on Corporal Numbnuts. Out of fear, he throws his rifle out the door. Never break the convoy.png. Both of us knowing a lost rifle is 1,000 times worse than him blowing my brains out. I lose my cookies and start yelling till I started spewing blood while slapping his shit. I continue this for some time. Sergeant Decent Human Being tells me he is getting tired of hearing this and driving at that angle. I stop slapping his shit, I start driving again. By all luck, everyone in the convoy behind us saw the rifle and the last vehicle stopped and collected it. B route cleaner. Some MP unit that ended up in front of us rolls over an IED. Major fuck up on Battlespace's part. Roll up to scene to provide security and medical aid. Soft top Humvees. Fuck me, this isn't good. .jpg. Strike on lead vehicle. 2-seater. TC is fucking gone. As in, just not there anymore. Driver's fucked. Burns all over. Most of his right hand and forearm missing. Shrapnel fucking everywhere. Get out because dismount. Help drag driver out. Medic does his thing. Gives guy morphine. Wraps his arm up best he can. Goes to find pieces of TC to put in a bag. Leaves me with the fucked up driver. Keep talking to him. Don't let him fall asleep. He's fucked up. Jeez. Thanks, Doc. Trying to make small talk with a guy who's missing most of his arm. Zoned out on morph. Hits my shin with his stump. Dude. Looks at his bandage. What the fuck? It'll be okay, man. They'll get you fixed up. Get you one of those badass robot arms. Shakes his head. Nah, man, I mean, how am I gonna watch porn and jack off at the same time now? Makes mouse clicking motions with his left hand, jerking motions with his right, then huffs. Exasperated. My fucking face wind. I had him repeat it to Doc, then the rest of the squad, and we fucking died, pissing ourselves still when the chopper showed up. Dude was laughing too. You laugh or cry, man. That's the only way to deal with it. Be with artillery. Driver of Humvee in front of me starts trying to be all cool, saying how Iraqi sand makes drifting a breeze. Drifts cannon onto IED. Cannon flips off into the sunset. Scared noises.m4a over the radio. Gets his shit chewed out. Never knew what happened to him after. My face win. Roll up to an IED DET. Dumbass militia group got blown up trying to disarm an IED. Yeah, fucking right. Guy's in about 1 million pieces. His buddy's all fucked up and dead. Third guy is dying. Doc starts working on dying dude. I pull security for EOCA to investigate the blast site. We CSI Iraq now. Minding my own business, looking at nothing. Someone slaps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey," I turn around. Team leader standing there holding a dismembered arm, amputated just above the bicep, starts wagging it at me, wrist and elbow limp as fuck, flopping around like a fish. My face win. Mister, Alibaba go that way. Makes broad sweeping gesture to the west. Sticks out hand. America #1. Good, you are here. I'm crying at this point. Shake the hand. He goes around and starts slapping people on the ass and head with the arm, yelling like an Iraqi. Whole platoon laughing like retards. Locals look on disapprovingly. Wounded guy dies. That was the first time I'd ever seen a dead body, and I still laugh when I think about it. Be me, in a stand, out on patrol to win hearts and minds, walking with local police. Take contact, sniper about 450 plus yards. NBD JDAM should figure it out. Look over at police. One guy is trying to throw grenades. The other is adjusting his range compensator on his AK, convinced it ups the power of the bullet. My face when running across the Skeeter wing wearing an MLP dash patch on his deployment shoulder. I smoked him while I called his platoon sergeant when the number he gave me routed to a "you got dumped" hotline. Staff duty got it from the duty book. His platoon sergeant called in his SL and TL. They smoked the dog shit out of him because they got their asses chewed. Fucking engineers. Eat the biggest dick. Be me, volunteer service in Slovenian Army. Our second week of field trials. Sergeant says tonight you sleep in the field, not the platoon tent in the camp. We go out, find a nice clearing, and set up camp. Camp looks like festival ground. No perimeter security, no nothing. 60-mile-per-hour wind. Storm brewing. Sergeant comes to check on our camp. Loses his shit over the lack of anything resembling a perimeter security. Hike all night in the storm. Set up camp with proper security like 7 times. 3 a.m. Return to camp. See platoon tent on its side. Wind knocked it over. Start fixing tent in 60-mile-per-hour wind. Takes until 4:30 a.m. Sergeant says, "Nice job, guys. Now write an essay on the importance of perimeter security. 700 words.txt. Write until 5 a.m. And that's how I learned the importance of perimeter security. Be me. In recruit training at sunny San Diego. Lost count of the days. It's all a blur. Never will forget my rack mate, a Texan. We'll call him Williams. Always cracking jokes under breath, pushing the limit between being a smartass and technical. Constantly get hazed with him. Almost always worth it for the lulz. One day, getting fucked with before racking out. Getting dressed and undressed. We got range high and the highest range score overall, so SDI let us wear our sweat tops. Getting count down, put our sweat top. Throw it on, but hear Williams grunting and cussing. Look over to see him fucking. Countdown ends and he goes to a POA in defeat. He literally somehow shoved his head into one of the arms of the sweat top. He just stands at attention with his head in the arm. Can make his face out through the arm. Killhat comes down looking. I'm failing to hide my wide-ass smile. Killhat stops dead in his tracks, looking at Williams. First, he had a look of disbelief. Drops his face so his hat hides his face. Fix yourself, he screams while trying his hardest not to laugh and storms into the duty. We just stand there, meanwhile Williams' head is still in the arm of his sweat top. Jay Killhat comes out, undresses us and continues the fuckery. Killhat reappears, running at me and Williams pretty much foaming at the mouth. Get IT'd the rest of the night and put on first fire watch. My face when this was just one of the many shenanigans Williams would get me into. Be me, still recruit training. We're reaching the end of it all. Third phase and Shiye. We pick up 2 drops from another company. Little black guy and a little manifestation of autism. He's this pale, out-of-shape, goofy-looking edgelord. I remember his name was Slayman. He'd put on the quarterdeck just for his name sometimes. He couldn't get along with anybody and no one wanted to anyways. Just looking at this kid made you want to not get near him. Got hazed by the drill instructors for everything and was always picked last in team events. Always fucked up, so we got smoked on the account of this autist. He was in the rack next to us, so we were constantly roasting and picking on him. Nothing crazy, just the usual shit talking you'd expect in an environment full of men. Lol, kid can't handle the bants. Literally spurgs out on us, yelling. Wish I could have had some way to record it, so I could show everyone on here. Would blurt out, shut up, you faggot. He sounded like the crazy breakdown kid who shoves remotes up his ass. Me and Williams love it. We laugh ourselves to sleep when the lights are out. One day the platoon collectively gets tired of Slayman's shit. Williams takes this as a golden opportunity. Me, Williams, and Slayman's rack mate, who probably hated him more than any of us ever could, devise a plan. We wanted to blanket party his ass like an FMJ, but Williams wanted to be original. We enlist the help of these 2 taco Americans and put the plan in full effect after lights out. We wait for the drill instructor to go into his duty hut. We slowly make our way to Slayman's rack. Me, his rack mates, and the taco Americans grab his blankets and pull down. Almost immediately, Williams jumps on him, naked as the day he was born. He pops a squat right over Slayman's face and teabags him. He was able to rest his nutsack over his eyes for a solid 5 seconds. At that point, Slayman was screaming and wailing at us. Williams managed to squeeze out a fart before we dispersed to our racks. Williams decides to take Slayman for a circuit. Slayman is fucking losing his shit. Face is beet red while Williams is literally lolling the whole wah. Runs down the recruit and drill instructor highway before taking a sharp turn to our rack. As Slayman tries to orient himself, drill instructor crashes out of his duty hut. Slayman stops dead in his tracks. Drill instructor unleashes the full fury of a man who had to take care of 90 retards on no sleep, protein bars, energy drinks, and pre-workout. Eats his face for a good 5 minutes, not letting him explain himself. Drill instructor loses it completely, grabs Slayman by the collar, and goes outside to the pit. This man was filled with so much rage and hate for this fag that he put his career on the line to smoke him in a sand pit in the middle of the night. My face when me and Williams watch from the window as Slayman gets slayed. My face when he would get dropped again thanks to an attempted suicide. My face when we never stopped fucking with him until he got officially dropped from the platoon. Lol, am I a bad person or did we do the Corps a favor? Well, I mean, you did manage to pull an FMJ and nobody actually died, so I'd say you did the right thing. It just happened to be fucking hilarious. B-roll player for SEAL training. Universal Studios made the mock village, so it's got everything. SEALs have to clear a 6-story school building with 12 bad guys and 3 hostages. Role players are hostages, civilians, etc. Before exercise, everyone is sitting around. Role player is talking shit about how he's gonna be a bad guy and fuck the SEALs up. Doesn't know the SEALs are at the next table. Role players assigned roles. Dickhead's role is to be a civilian on a moped, buzzing around town. Training starts. SEALs helicopter onto roof of school. Clear floor by floor to the bottom. All hostages secure, all bad guys dead. No SEALs injured. In and out in 6 minutes. Head count after training is over. 1 role player missing. Another count. Still 1 off. Start searching the town. Hear banging from one of the lockers in the school. Open door. Trash-talking dick is in the locker. Blood all down his shirt from his nose. Paper pinned to his shirt reading, bitch. He says he was riding the moped, went past an alley, and got elbowed in the face from the shadows. Then woke up in the dark. SEAL's face win. In Afghan, getting ready for a night patrol. It's about 2 a.m. Just had orders given out, so we are getting our shit together to put into the Bushmasters. We are delayed for some dumb reason, so we are just chilling by the bushies. Some people are napping and others are smoking. I'm on the ground looking at the stars, listening to the sound of nothing but occasional gunshots in the distance. See a weird triangle-like light in the sky just staying completely still. Tap my mate next to me, ask him if he can see it. We assume it's some other country's plane or halo. Having a smoke, it's our ops guy. Yell out to him. He comes over, point it out. He runs into his ops room, comes out like 5 minutes later. By this time, we have at least 20 plus soldiers looking at it. Ops says there are no aerial vehicles in operation right now across all of NATO in that section of sky, and it's not the right shape. We all tell him he's a lying cunt. It moves west across the sky at bullshit speeds and stops instantly again. We all freak out a bit. Then the light just vanishes. Like, just gone. Our ops guy is a captain and he can't explain what we saw. Tells us to forget it and go on our patrol. We do. Anyway, we go on our patrol, do our thing, it's all a buzz in the FOB about it. So naturally, Rank decided to have a meeting about it, and we were all told it was nothing and to not speak of it anymore. I can't explain what it was like. It was hypnotizing. You couldn't look away, it was so weird, and the feeling you got made you sick with nervousness. This wasn't a one-off either. There were heaps of reports of UFOs on my deployment. Be military police. Be watching Iraqi detainees in detention center. To pee, they have a hose that leads outside with water bottle cut in half. Iraqi military police are known to arrest men that owed them money or brother-in-laws they hate. This detainee was one of those. Starts pissing in the water bottle. Grunt takes a running start from the back of the cell block. Jumps and kicks with both his legs into detainee's back. Detainee is sent sprawling into the wall. Starts screaming. The water bottle cut the tip of this dude's dick off. Grunt freaks out, scared of Article 15. Walks up to the interpreter. If word gets out about this, you will not leave this detention center. Now do you speak English? No. Guy gets set free the next day. Field exercise. Overcast night. It's really fucking dark. Stealthily advancing towards Op 4. Really fucking close. Taking firing positions against a mossy rock while other group advances. Strange sensations all over body. Rock is not rock. Rock is in fact anthill. Onboard aircraft carrier USS Enterprise, 2005, 6, 7, something like that, stationed in Norfolk. Might have been in the shipyards. Anyway, Navy personnel all over the Hampton Roads area. Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, Newport News, etc. Racking up DUIs at an insane pace. Enterprise is, as always, the tip of the spear. At least the guy who did 100 plus miles per hour the wrong way down the interstate, right into a couple on their way to the hospital, wasn't one of our guys. Hint, mom and dad dead, and the baby that was about to enter the world didn't. Brass is rip shit. CO gets on the ship-wide TV during a safety stand-down, calling down fire and brimstone. Next person who gets a DUI, I don't care who, is getting publicly masted, NJP'd military kangaroo court. Someone gets a DUI within days. Whoops! He was the chief. No mast for him. What the fuck, .jpg. Weeks later, an E3 gets a DUI. Stage is set up in the hangar bay. Prisoner escorted in by 4-man security detail carrying M16s, 2 with grenade launchers. Didn't even know security had grenade launchers. Did they have to get them from weapons department? CO goes on like a Baptist preacher. Asks if Sailor has anything to say for himself after he throws max allowable punishment at E3. E3 chooses to remain silent. CO gets even madder. Kicks him out of the Navy. I believe in good order and discipline, and in fucking up the day of people who get DUIs. But when the CO broke his word about holding people responsible regardless of rank, and then turned it into a fucking circus when a lower enlisted guy fucked up soon thereafter, I just lost all respect for him. Time for another Swiss story. B Sergeant enlists. Fellow sergeants have trouble with civilian instructor. Instructor has a crippled arm since birth. Let's call him Stumpy. That was what they used to call him behind his back. Squad of said sergeants have to retake a test on evening leave. Later that week, all sergeants are in the company commander's office. Topic of one-arm instructor comes up. Commander is a no-nonsense guy. Says with a stone-cold face, Mr. Stumpy's empathy lies in his left hand. His missing hand. Dead silence. That was a joke. We burst out laughing. B Finfag, conscript, force-on-force training. Have those blank-firing adapters and laser sensor things. I was thinking USA you call the miles or something. Female Von Ricky, 2 lieutenants I think in American terms. She starts shooting at the tree line and says we are in contact. Platoon takes cover and begins returning fire into the tree line. She turns around and kills one of our own guys by negligently discharging her rifle. She calls for mortars. A minute later, half the platoon gear is going off and beeping. You are dead, shrapnel head. She called in short rounds. Find out later that the enemy was over 2 kilometers in the opposite fucking direction. We were shooting at nothing. In summary, no contact with the enemy, 27 dead, 30 plus wounded. She remained in charge. As far as I know, she is still an officer somewhere in the army in charge of people. My face when women in combat positions. B Marine in a ship, heading to that magical sandbox, Kuwait. Hear a rumor that someone got caught fucking on a ship. Go to my sweetie contact for all things Navy. Tells me they found this E5 going to downtown, Pound Town, on a female E5 in one of the dark rooms. Guy who found him was a senior chief. Fast forward a couple days. I'm walking to the mess decks and pass these 2 jokers on the way. Dude is standing in his service uniform, quiet and deadpan face, eyes front. Chick is bawling, crying her eyes out in her service uniform outside the chief's mess. Disgusted by the sight of this, and proceed to the mess deck. Later I found out from my Navy POC of the charges, dude got reduced to E2, put on liberty restrictions and extra duties and reduction of pay along with the 45-45. Chick got an ass chewing, busted down to E4, and Class B liberty restrictions. Talked to the dude who got busted down on the flight deck one day, my face when he wasn't even mad. Be my dad, 101st Airborne in the early 90s. Get sent to Panama for training. Exercise is basically to parachute into the jungle and figure out how to get home. Dad jumps in, knows he'll most likely spend the night alone under some tree. So he walks a few miles and sets up a little campsite for the night. Just laying, can't see the stars because of the fucking trees. Starts counting leaves to alleviate boredom. Starts getting dark. Dad dozes off for a bit, but wakes up. Wakes up to a man in the trees. Dad flips the fuck out but doesn't move. Just stays under his poncho. Man in the trees gets closer. Is hanging on a branch only inches away. Dad then smells the smelliest smell of all. Like, as he explains it, shit, liquid garbage, and liquid shit. Dad realizes a forest goblin is not coming to steal his soul. It's a big, fat, covered in shit sloth. It gets right in front of him and just stares. Dad realizes he'll never get an opportunity like this again. Reaches his hand out and touches it. It hisses at him. Dad, not knowing jack shit about sloths, flips out and packs his shit and leaves. Be me, in a rack. Be handling some logistics. We get a shipment of watermelon. Fucking watermelon. Unpacking them into a storage unit. LT in charge comes over. Tells us that someone is stealing melons. Isn't any of us. LT is furious and questioning everyone within range. As we are in charge of the melons, we're following him. He sees a camel eating one of the melons. Gon' fuck you good, .jpg. LT grabs a 2x4 sitting around and hits this fucker over the head. Just fucking devastated in 2 hits. Skull collapse on the 3rd. LT draws pistol and just lights into it. Complete mag dump. This is what happens to thieves in my sandbox. Be me, Dutch army guy, on training in a village. Civvies walk the streets as we patrol in full combat load. Nobody bats an eye. I carry the Panzerfaust on my back. Having a short stop, kneel down next to a car. Panzerfaust smashes through the windshield of the car. Owner walks out of his house and starts charging at me. Buddies work him to the ground and try to calm him down. Make my way out of there as fast as my legs can carry me and the 60 kilograms of crap on my body. Run into LT. Everything okay, Anon? Yeah, sure. Are we ready to move out again? And that's how I made the local news. Be in shipyard, period. December. Broke dick carrier is broke dick. Repairs running way behind. Reason repairs are running behind is because shipyard workers aren't working. They don't get paid if there's not a ship there for them to work on. No other ships coming in anytime soon. Therefore, they're not going to finish anytime soon. They mostly come in, hide, sleep. Repairs way behind. Daily dock fees piling up. Water service, electrical, steam, sewer, etc. Pentagon yells at Captain. Captain yells at Chief Engineer and Reactor Officer. Chief Engineer apologizes, says we're doing what we can, takes ass chewing. Not engineering's fault that the shipyard's work is behind. Engineering not allowed to do shipyard's work either. RO doesn't see it that way. Tells reactor department, if you don't want to work, you don't get to play. Christmas leave is cancelled. Admiral in charge of all ships in shipyard is touring USS Broke Dick, accompanied by Captain, Chief Engineer, and RO. Walking through propulsion plants, come across 3 senior mechanics. Guys are covered in grease, balls deep in work on a turbine. Admiral walks up behind and says, "You gentlemen looking forward to Christmas?" 3 mechanics look back. See 306 107 plus. Proper military etiquette. Attention on deck. Come to attention. Reply to Admiral's statement politely, referring to him as Admiral, not Sir. Stay at attention until dismissed, at ease. Instead, 2 junior mechanics just turn back to their work and continue. Senior-most mechanic makes eye contact with Admiral. What Christmas? Turns back on Admiral. Gets back to work. Admiral, speechless. RO, Chief Engineer, Captain all wait for hammer to drop. Admiral pauses. Thinks for a moment. Turns to RO. Joe, why did that man just ask me, what Christmas? And that's the story of how the Admiral saved Christmas. Be new guy on USS Enterprise. 2005. Ship is once again in Newport News Shipyard. Ship designed to last for 30 years. 45-ish at this point. Something's always broken. First and only carrier of its kind, for a reason. Instead of 2 properly sized reactors, it has 8 small ones. Overcomplicated, undermanned, and past its service life. Repairs are taking too long as always. Shipyard workers are only paid if they are working on a ship. Whole area is insanely poor. Therefore, repairs never finish on time. Pentagon decides to tell Captain to pull out early, go on sea trials, and finish remaining work pierside in Norfolk. Reactor Officer, aka Crazy Joe Creed, has never left an ass unkissed in his career. Tells the CO, no problem. Most likely filleted him as well. Chief Engineer tells CO no way. Too much work incomplete. Channel not safe. CO says too bad. Channel down the James River gets dredged and mapped every 2 years. Hasn't been done in 1.9 years. Chief Engineer calls Pentagon from the flight deck. Tells them he can see the sandbar in their path from up there. Pentagon says pull out anyway. The cost per day to stay in the shipyard is just too high. Shipyard bills the Navy for steam, water, super pure water, electrical, and sewage. So the day comes. Stand 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. watch before scheduled pullout. Get off watch. Go to my rack. Go to sleep. Tugs push boat around into the river and head back to Norfolk. Boat putts along for a bit. Announcing circuit kicks in. Loss of vacuum number. Turbine generator condenser. Casualty assistant team respond. Not my job.jpg. Loss of vacuum number. Main engine condenser. Casualty assistant team respond. Not my job.jpg. Loss of vacuum number. Turbine generator condenser. Casualty assistance team respond. Still not my job.jpg. Emergency shutdown. All 8 reactors. All nuclear trained personnel mustered in the aft bomb transfer area. Guess that's my job.jpg. Roll out of bed. Fling on coveralls and boots. Head to the mess deck area where everybody's shoving tables out of the way to assemble 2 departments. Find out ship sucked up a sandbar, just as Chief Engineer predicted. Every seawater intake that was sucking in cool river water to cool plant equipment has clogged. No way to cool and condense steam, therefore no way to pull steam through turbines. So the power goes out. 4 massive V16 emergency diesel generators are in place for just such an emergency. One starts. Just one. They get another going hours later, but the other 2 never play a role. Guess what? Some work was that the Chief Engineer worried about. Boats drifting, dead stick, down the James River, no control. Tugs are racing back. Tugs are not fast. Only available power is used for the radios, announcing circuit and reactor coolant pumps. Chief Engineer saw it coming, so plans were in place and there was excess reactor cooling capacity available. Steam generator levels were kept abnormally high so steam could be bled off and lost without worry. This keeps the reactors safe, but doesn't do much for creature comforts. No ventilation in the plants whatsoever. Engine room must be manned during emergency shutdown. Temperature hits 160 degrees in the uppermost level with less than 100% humidity. It actually rained inside the aircraft carrier. Stay times were 5 minutes out of every hour. Then you were out and guzzling water. One senior chief who refused to leave his post was wrestled out by his men. Up 2 flights of 70-degree stairs with handrails too hot to touch. They got him to medical after he stopped sweating and got crazy. Medical made him ride the Silver Rocket. They shoved a thermometer up his ass. Eventually, the tugs arrive and the ship is towed back to Norfolk. Power is supplied by shore cables. Ventilation is restored. The work of clearing the condensers begins. Mechanics end up down in the 100-degree engine rooms, opening up inspection ports to scrape out dirty river bottom. The engine room just reeks, like a pier at low tide. Bilges fill up with salt water and mud. They're pulling out dead fish, clams, stingrays, etc., etc. One group even pulled out a live 2-foot shark and released it into the bilge, because lulz. Because of how hard the day was on all the poor non-nuclear sailors, the galley decides to serve an extra special meal: lobster and crab legs. Mess decks end up reeking with the same stench as the 100-degree rainy engine rooms. Nubs like me are sent to McDonald's at the end of the pier to bring back food that doesn't make you want to puke. Eventually, the Pentagon decides to get into the blame game and attack the ship's leadership. You know, because a vessel with 8 reactors just lost the ability to intake cooling water while on an inland waterway within the continental United States. Fortunately, the chief engineer kept detailed records of every mail, email, and phone call he made. Dead accurate assessment of what would happen saved his ass, and led the Pentagon to drop the matter, lest they look like politically motivated assholes who care more about counting money than they do about reactor safety. Which they are. Be out at sea, midwatch. ELT at the sink drawing a sample of reactor coolant. shooting shit with phone talker while waiting for water to come out of the little pipe. Captain was walking by and stops to watch. Idiot ELT not paying attention and reactor coolant sprays all over the captain. Captain dries himself with chem wipes, paper towels, kept nearby for this very thing. Captain frisks himself with a radiation detector to make sure he is clean. Goes to wardroom where engineer is doing paperwork. Eng, you might want to monitor the primary coolant sample in the next couple of days. B. Granddad. Go to sign up for Navy but get swooned by another recruiter into joining the Marines. In basic. Standing at attention. Hot as fuck out. Flies buzzing everywhere. Grandpa thinks he's out of sight of the drill instructor, so he smacks a fly that was buzzing on his neck. Grandanon, what the fuck are you trying to do to my corp? Or something along those lines. Sir, this recruit was having problems with this fly, sir. Or something similar. Apparently, the drill instructor took the fly in both of his hands and said with a sad voice, "This fly was my best friend. We have to have a funeral." Makes Grandpa dig a grave for a couple hours in scalding hot weather as the rest of his unit have to stand out there with him in the heat. Grandpa puts fly in and fills the hole back up. Drill instructor says, "Wait a minute, I didn't get to say goodbye." Grandpa has to dig the hole back up, retrieve the fly so that the drill instructor can say his goodbyes, then refill the hole. Other recruits threaten to beat the shit out of him if he does something stupid like that again. Be my father. Join Marine Corps cause fuck it, gonna get drafted anyway. Get sent to Vietnam. Driving a jeep down a supply route. Come to a river crossing. Pontoon bridge, wide enough for one lane of traffic. 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes the other. See truck en route to DFAC, Chow Hall, full of pallets of beer. Tell A driver to stall on the bridge until the traffic swap. Just as the traffic swap is in our favor, steal beer truck and haul ass across bridge. Bro stalls truck at the foot of the pontoon bridge, buying 20-minute head start. Get to Bivouac and borrow nearby front end loader. Friends help bury a pallet of beers and scurry away with the rest. Just as front end loader finishes patting down fresh dirt, MPs pull up. Everyone true bro, no blue falcons. MPs recover the truck and all but one pallet of beer, but no suspects. Throw party for everyone with the buried beer. Invite MPs. Be Grampy. Join Army because fuck it. Gonna get drafted anyway. Become part of aircrew. I don't remember the specific position or craft. Shot down over Europe. Bail to the ground safely. In Nazi-occupied territory, evade, escape, egress. See patrol coming. Duck into hedgerow. Pretty well concealed, patrol will easily miss hiding spot. Hear rustling behind. Can turn to see without exposing position. Patrol getting closer. Rustle getting closer. Closer and closer. Both the patrol and the rustling right on top of position now. Slowly throw hands up and surrender. As Nazis take Grandpa into custody, turn to see the source of the sound. Fucking cow. Spend the remainder of the war in a stalag because of a bungling bovine buffoon. Be old buck. Vietnam era. Join Navy to avoid Army. End up in nuclear power on subs. Squadron is scheduled for exercises to be attended by brass. Something hits the fan. Exercises cancelled. OB sub stays pierside. Reactor shutdown. OB is standing shutdown roving watch. Buddy is standing shutdown reactor operator. SRO technically owns the reactor plant, only subordinate to engineer and CO. SRW knocks on maneuvering reactor control room door. Request to enter and report. SRO replies, enter. SRW notices shit-eating grin on SRO's face. Asks what the fuck he's so happy about. This time tomorrow, I'm going to be a civilian. SRO tells OB about how 20 minutes earlier a man had come walking in a suit and tie. Admiral Hyman Rickover, the father of naval nuclear power and the head of naval reactors. Hated wearing a uniform and was instantly recognizable, even in a suit. SRO turned to him and said, "Step back out and ask permission to enter." "Son, do you know who I am?" "I don't care who you are. Step back out and ask for permission to enter." "Son, I'm going to ask you one last time. Do you know who I am?" "And I'm going to tell you one last time. Get the hell out of my space or I'll call forward security and have you thrown out. Rickover turns and leaves. OB finishes hearing this story, figures shit's about to hit the fan, and turns and leaves. 10 minutes later, footsteps. Many. Hides behind turbine. CO, XO, engineer, Rickover, and relief SRO knock on the door. State, entering as or with CO. A minute later, new former SRO departs with entourage. New SRO standing watch. Half hour later, former SRO returns by himself, looking crestfallen, enters maneuvering. Relief SRO goes back to bed. OB knocks on door, requests to enter maneuvering. Dude, what the hell happened? That son of a bitch gave me a Navy Achievement Medal. From basic course. Back at base after home leave. Get assigned to base cleaning detail instead of class. It's me plus a bunch of girls on a hot morning, so naturally, all the labor falls on me. When done, the NCO gives me an hour break. See my roommates waiting for me in the barracks because they got 10-minute break from class and there's only one key. Tell them to leave the key under the tile in the hallway, our secret key stash, cause I'm going for a long shower. The fuckers didn't leave the key. 15 minutes until class starts and all I got is a towel and flip-flops. Think I see one of my buds near the infirmary. It's in the middle of the base and it started raining. But everybody is in classes, so fuck it. I'm making the run. Fuck, it's not him. I start running back when I see two female officers going down the road in my direction. So I cut to the left through the mud behind the officers' barracks and around mine. Maybe I can get in through the window, but I need a ladder to second floor. I run to the discipline NCO's office, the one who gave me the break. It was empty, so I got in and grabbed the ladder. He suddenly enters and sees me there, wet, half naked with only a towel at my waist, covered with mud and crazed look in my eyes trying to his ladder. I freeze in utter dread. The most feared figure in base stands in front of me and falls to the floor, rolling with laughter. I grab the towel that fell in one hand, the ladder in the other, and run past him. Climbed in my room, changed to uniform, jumped out, and got to class seconds before my CO entered the other door. The NCO couldn't keep a straight face for another 2 weeks when passing by me during morning flag raising. 2014, Operation Protective Edge in Gaza. B in a war room. A team gets medevac from a building because RPG through the window. I'm checking to make sure, and indeed, an RPT with sensitive info was left behind. I contact an officer on the ground, tell him to go pick it up. I can't, Air Force already targets the area. I connect the Air Force and tell them to disintegrate the building to make sure the PC is gone. We can't, it's too danger close. You're fucking kidding me. Make contact with officer again. Ah, yeah, we went to pick it up anyway. No, we can't bring it to you ASAP. What do you mean? 'Cause we shot it and threw it away. JFMSU.jpg. Please find it. Lives at stake here. Are you sure? The IAF started bombing the shit out of this area. I don't even any longer. Some time passes. Do you have it? Yes, we got the OFG, the back of 2 Hamas guys that were escaping with it. Hallelujah. I'm even too tired to be mad as shit about the last part. Just make sure now that the first soldier, tank, hamster, I don't care, that goes back into Israel will bring it with him. No problem. But only one problem. What? A tank drove over it. How? A guy was guarding it, but he went to take a piss and left it on the road when a Merc drove by. I got it at the end. It was burned, smashed, broken to pieces, and riddled with bullets. Fucking infantry brickheads. B-Dad, CA 1972. 6'4", no more than 150 pounds, skinny as fuck, conscripted in a Navy, radio man on oil tender, exercise out on the Dogger Bank. Suddenly, battlestations.wav, sprint toward Radio Shack. Blackout, wake up in infirmary. CO says he ran forehead first into a steel bulkhead. Captain orders him from now on, whenever on or near the ship, wear a Stahlhelm helmet. That helmet got very dented. Sometime later, maybe some other exercise. Refueling American destroyer on its way to the Baltic. Ships are tied together at the bow. Fuel lines hoisted. All this while underway. Typical North Sea weather, i.e. shit. Ships are parallel. Wind goes in between, creates a jet effect. This means that the air going in between the ships sucks them together, because physics. Crunch.mp4. Tender and destroyer collide at the stern. Back of the ship, line connecting the bows is taut. Can't just undo it because massive tension. 2 not exactly small ships doing a tug of war with their bows. Some crewman has to go and cut it. Goes and axes the line. Ropes take off like a massive whip. US ships sound like a big bell when whipped like that apparently. Luckily no seamen on the deck at that time. Rope would have cut them. Fuel lines, rip. Minor oil pest. Lol, it's the 70s. No one cares. Both ships gotta go to the shipyard for repairs. Be me, Finnish Army, FO team's radio operator. Firing exercise for 81mm mortars. Regs say that the smoking on FO post requires permission from the FO. We rotate tasks so that everyone gets to practice directing fire. When it's my turn to act as FO, I hear the distinct sound of a Zippo's lid being opened. Me without turning to see who it was. I don't remember giving permission to smoke. Lieutenant Colonel who had come to observe the exercise. Permission to smoke? Granted. Few months later, I got a letter requesting that I attend a promotion/awarding ceremony the night before Independence Day. Apparently, the Lieutenant Colonel who was from the Military District HQ had recommended me for promotion and it had been approved. Be in a Persian Gulf, in Navy, doing Navy things, on board an aircraft carrier, walking down the hallway, hear an announcement, quick draw, starboard side, all hands stand clear of all letter wells and passageways. Translation, weapons department, get the 50 cals out of storage and out to their mounting points. Can't leave my deuce out in the salt spray coming up from the side of the boat or she'd rust away. Everyone else, stay the hell out of their way. Huh, didn't hear this is a drill. Stand off to the side, out of the middle of the hallway. Sure enough, some huge good old boys come barreling down the hallway with an M2 receiver on his shoulder, screaming, "Make a hole!" at people in his way. One brand new ensign stands in his way. "Excuse me, I'm an officer. You can't talk to me like..." Boom! Weapons guy shoulders him right into a bulkhead as he's running by. Ossifer hits the floor like a sack of rice. Officer complains to weapons department about their sailor's conduct. He promptly gets raped for getting in the way of their gunner during a legit security alert. Also raped for not standing clear as ordered by announcement, which carries the full weight of an order by the commanding officer. Turned out a couple of Revolutionary Guard assholes from Iran had pulled up alongside us in a speedboat, and were talking shit over a megaphone. The lookouts never saw them until they were right alongside, because they were too busy flirting. She was maybe a 5, even with deployment goggles on, and radar missed it because fiberglass boat hulls are intrinsically somewhat stealthy. Be on a carrier, Namera. Ship is thoroughly fucked. Sitting in another shipyard repair period. Several mechanic division sailors working on a turbine. Senior guy, E6, is under turbine, uniform shirt off, pants covered in oil and shit. Brass comes through on a tour. Chief Engineer, Reactor Officer, XO, CO, Admiral, and Secretary of the Navy. Be in a propulsion space, so no saluting/attention on deck, horseshit. Secretary of the Navy walks up to stream of profanity emanating from the legs sticking out from under the turbine. What exactly are you doing under there, son? I'm fucking a goddamned rubber duck. What the fuck does it look like I'm doing? Wanna come down here and relieve the duck? Brass all looked shocked to death. Secretary of the Navy, though, almost falls over laughing. Turns to his aide and says, "Write that one down for my memoirs." Brass all walk off. Guy finishes. Gets out from under the turbine. Who the fuck was that asshole? That was the Secretary of the Navy and on? Bullshit. Announcing system comes on. Ceremonial bells ring. Secretary of the Navy departing. BE5 me, ammo sergeant on gunnery lane. Sleeping in a field for 8 days. Long for sweet silence of air-conditioned bay and bed in the rear. Hot as fuck out. Dealing with 38,000 rounds of 50 cal. With 4 disc herniations. Trucks can't shoot for shit. MJFO and should be on a hill doing cool guy shit with Artie. Nope.jpg. Playing ammo bitch. Fast forward 8 days. Finally get back to rear. Enter bay to find the pogs sleeping. Resent their lazy fuckery. Am covered in dust and sand while finding my bed. Find bed. Bed appears to be occupied. Bed is being stolen by E2 artist. MRE wrappers literally covering bed and floor. Smoke session of the century incoming. Turn to sleeping Pogs. Where in the fuck is this E2 fuck? Why is he in my bed? We told him not to, Sergeant. But good fucking job, Pogs. E2 returns from shower. I am throwing MRE wrappers about and spur gloating. E2, not realizing I am NCO, asks, "What the fuck, mate?" Slowly turn to face him. Color drains from face like a faucet. Moments of silence. I see $300 Beats headphones still lying on my bed. Throw Beats like Nig-Nog boomerang of death. Hits E2 in the forehead. Tell E2 if not gone after I finish showering, he will not sleep for 48 hours. Return from shower, E2 is gone. He went into another bay, Sergeant. My face when he accidentally took a bed from a senior enlisted bay. My face when got turned into sugar cookie anyway from epic smoke session. Watch smoke session while smoking and smiling. BFO. 3 days on the hill doing calls for fire. Last day, gun problems result in check fire for a couple hours. 34 rounds of white phosphorus left. Gumline doesn't want to deal with turning in unexpected rounds. Get approval to expand all munitions. Call it in with dick already throbbing. For those who don't know, a mortar Willie Pete round burns at around 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit and usually starts small forest fires. It is accelerated even more by water, thanks to the added moisture and oxygen in the air. It was raining on this glorious day. 34 rounds of silent white death fall over the next 4 minutes. Within 15 minutes, a smoke cloud that rivals Hiroshima begins creeping along, burning the earth like something biblical. Entire western half of Post must be evacuated. Willie Pete Death Cloud traveled 13 miles to fuel point. We must stay on the hill to monitor and not travel. I get to record an epic forest fire for the next 2 hours and smoke and joke. Got a little bit of fun banter and recognition for that one. That's the FO who scorched the whole forest. Basic training, obstacle course in full gear. Last part is to jump into a ditch and throw a rock onto the target circle, like a grenade. Guy of Indian descent arrives at the rock throwing obstacle. Doesn't know what to do and just stares at drill instructor. Drill instructor shouts, "Throw, man O'Haron! Fucking throw!" He looks around, grabs his rifle and throws it 5 meters out of the ditch. Looks back at drill instructor after. Drill instructor staring blankly, then laughing his ass off, then yelling at him for being a retard. Waiting in a G class in an old camp. Only used for training nowadays. Bunkers with grass all over. Lots of trees and green around. Watch some other unit running around firing blanks. Very hot and dry day for this country, around 38 Celsius. Some genius decides to not throw 1, but 3 smoke grenades into a bush. Instant fire spreading quickly to nearby bushes. 5 people run in, try to stomp it out. One guy runs in, asks for our car's fire extinguisher. Look at my platoon commander. He says, "No, we have to make paper dirty to get it replaced once it's used." He stares in disbelief. We hand him the fire extinguisher and he runs off. I play Ring of Fire and we laugh as they extinguish the fire. AA fire exercise with GPMGs. Target is a bag with sensors. Towed by a civilian aircraft on a long cable. Supposed to guard the bar to the range with one other guy, so nobody drives in and gets shot. Suddenly hear whizzing sounds a few meters above us. Duck in ditch. Ask on radio what the fuck's going on. Turns out the plane had a lot of wind, so it drifted off to the side. And the towing cable and airbag did too. Shooters ignored the range limit signals and shot in our direction. We had dirt walls between the shooters and ourselves, but the whizzing sounds sent us into the ditch by default. My great-grandfather was in France and later Poland and finally Russia during World War II. His stories are downright insane. Driving commander in Kubelwagen through abandoned town. Russian plane incoming. Trying to hit the car. He's avoiding it narrowly by sharply turning into side alleys 3 times before the pilot gives up and flies off. Lost. Driving with Kubel over hill. Suddenly around 8 to 10 Russians in the field 200 meters away. He turns around, but he shoots back into the Ruskies' direction with MP40. Incoming rounds narrowly missing, some striking the car. Before he was commander's driver, he was a combat engineer. 2 Stoogs accompany his platoon. Set up ambush for Russian armor. Two T-34s climbing over a hill. One hitting the hull, the other one in the turret by the Stoogs. One of the T-34's ammo goes off. Fireworks. It's crazy hearing that stuff and seeing that he survived it all, when so many others died. Be my great-grandfather, August 1941, after the start of Operation Barbarossa on June 22, 1941. Soviets attack Finland on 25th, starting the Continuation War. His unit, 3rd Battalion, 9th Infantry Regiment, 7th Division, is taking back town of Sortavala. He is on the edge of a field. He is shot in the chest. The exit wound in his back is the size of a fist. As he is being carried to the dressing station, his last words are, "That hurt." Some 68 years and 3 months later, when I was visiting my grandfather in his hometown on leave from my unit during my mandatory service, my grandfather told me that he has never forgiven the Ruskies for what they did to him. But nevertheless, we, his grandchildren, shouldn't hate the Russians, because hate never achieves anything. That was the last time I saw him. 4 months later, I, along with my dad and his 3 brothers, plus another male relative, carried him to his final resting place next to his wife. Be my grandfather. On radar for USS New Orleans. Bombarding island. Harassment fire, so 1 shot at a time. Own spotter aircraft broke. Using spotter plane from USS Texas. Calls for all 9 guns on Spot X because lots of Japanese soldiers. We can only shoot 1 at a time because orders. Give me 9 guns. Wait a sec, gets permission. Admiral says he's the best spotter in the fleet. If he wants 9 guns, give him 9 guns. Shoot all 9 guns. Did we get it? Hold on a minute. Dives down low behind mountain to get a better look. Comes back up. I don't know, but there sure is a big hole where all those Japs were. Here's of my favorite Predator strikes I saw while I was in the Air Force. Working a Pred mission over Libya during the Civil War. Come across a group of Libyan army soldiers on the side of the road. They have a T-64 and a flatbed truck. T-64 is lined up behind flatbed. T-64 goes up ramp. Goes askew. The weight of the tank pushed one side of the flatbed trailer onto soft sand. The other half stays on the road. T-64 then goes off the side of the trailer and flips over. Libyan standing around staring at flipped over tank. Pred pilot decides to strike. Watch a flipped over tank get blown up by a Hellfire.